Okay, I have us on YouTube. I just need to get us recording. Okay, you are now on YouTube and also recording to the cloud.
Thank you so much, Cable. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, April 14th, 2021. The time is 6 p.m. We are right on schedule, and this is your regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen's meeting. This meeting, there are no scheduled hearings. However, as always, public input can be provided using the following methods: contacting our office via the email or number listed on the agenda, or via the Zoom link on the agenda with the meeting ID and passcode. A recording of this meeting will be placed on the Town of Dighton YouTube channel. It is also being streamed live, and it will also be replayed on Channel 9 via the regular schedule. At this time, I do ask for a roll call. Selectman Pacheco.
Here, present.
And are you participating remotely?
I sure am.
Selectman Hull, sir.
Present, and yes, I am participating remotely.
Thank you, sir. And Selectman Zagrafos is also present and also participating remotely. With that, I ask that everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I ask that everybody take a moment of silence for Jerome Coelho, who was a former reserve police officer with the Dighton Police Department, and also Carmelia Medeiros. Thank you. And as always, our condolences with their friends and family. Before we reorganize the Board of Selectmen this evening, I did want to take a moment to congratulate newly elected Selectman Leonard Hull. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. I also wanted to let you know that I really look forward, and I've said this to you briefly off camera, but just if you don't mind, I said that I really look forward to learning from you. I look forward to sharing views and different perspectives, and ultimately working collaboratively to move the town forward together. And I did want to give you the floor if you had anything to say as the newly elected selectman.
Dr. Segoffis, thank you so much. And I say that the title out of respect. The most important thing that the three of us need to do is to work together for the best interests of the town. I will learn a lot from you as well. You were the chairman, and you've been on the board, as you mentioned earlier, the longest serving member. So you have a great deal of experience and also an understanding of procedure and protocol, and that I will need to learn. And I thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
And with that, if there's no further discussion, I'm going to declare all positions vacant. We learned this protocol from former Selectman Goulart. So I'm declaring all positions vacant, and at this time, I will accept nominations for chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I would like to nominate Kenneth Pacheco for the chairman of the Dighton Board of Selectmen.
I will second that.
I was going to step down and second that.
It's okay.
We have a motion and a second. Under discussion, I did just want to say, Selectman Pacheco, the last time that you were chair, you served during the beginning of the pandemic. You did so well. You got information out on the pandemic to residents in a timely fashion. And I really think that you were the steady hand on the tiller, so I'm proud to support you for chair as well, sir.
So also on the discussion, I would like to thank you, Dr. Z, for being the chairperson for the past year. You had a difficult time. You became chairperson when we were in the middle of the pandemic, You also was our town administrator for about 4 months, which was not an easy task. So I appreciate your guidance and I look forward to working with you. I also want to welcome a new selectman, Leonard Hull, to the board. I'm sure that we're going to agree on many things. I think, although we sometimes disagree, the board, I think we have more in common than what we disagree on. So I would like to welcome Mr. Hull to his election into the Board of Selectmen. I do want to mention that I will, for the next year, I will say 1,000,000 times select board because my mind has been trained for that. I will apologize when I catch myself. I realize that we are the Board of Selectmen, but I have just been saying select board for such a long time. It's going to take me a long time to not say that. So I will apologize to the residents beforehand when I do say select board. So I did meet with Mr. Hull Monday. That I must have said select board 1,000,000 times. And
Did he correct you?
no, he didn't, but he gave me that look that I was making a mistake. So I just want the residents to know that if I am elected as chairperson, that I will be saying select board. There will be an error, but I will be saying it. So
We forgive you, sir. With that, I will call for a roll call vote. Mr. Selectman Hull, sir.
Yes.
And Selectman Pacheco
yes.
and Selectman Zagrafos is also aye. With that, Chairman Pacheco, sir, you have the floor. The show is the people's, but you will be conducting the meeting.
Yes. So we
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Z. So we need to appoint someone for town for clerk. So is there anybody interested or wish to be nominated for clerk?
I was the clerk for, I did just want to add, I was the clerk for, I want to say I've been here 5 years, probably at least 3 or 4 years. I learned an incredible amount. So if Selectman Hull is so obliged, I'd be happy to make a motion to nominate you.
I will accept. I'm honored. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion to appoint or nominate rather Selectman Hull to the role of clerk.
I will step down and second that motion. Any discussion? All those in favor, roll call. Dr. Z,
Aye.
Mr. Hull,
Aye.
and Ken Pacheco also says aye. I assume that since you're Dr. Z, you're the remaining person, you automatically become member and we don't have to do any voting on that.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Well, welcome aboard, Mr. Hull. And
Thank you very much.
we briefly went over the other day if the possibility of you being clerk, so you know some of the responsibilities
Yes,
of being clerk. So I look forward to working with you.
absolutely. And
We have
same-
some scheduled appointments. The first one is scheduled for 6 o'clock. I suspect it's a little later than 6. We have a representative from the Strawberry Fields LLC, and they're proposing a cannabis cultivation facility on 1423 William Street. I thought I saw Attorney Rounds. If Attorney Rounds wishes to speak on this.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Attorney William Rounds, my office is at 115 Broadway in Taunton. And I represent an LLC that was recently formed for the purpose of pursuing a license from both local and state authorities to have a cannabis cultivation facility to be located at 1423 William Street in Dayton. It's property that's owned by the Rujo family, and they are with us here tonight. And basically, there's a plan that we had submitted. I think maybe we could get that up and you could see exactly what we're talking about.
Attorney Rounds, are you able to see that, everybody?
Yep.
Yes,
I can see it.
Okay.
Yes.
As you look at that, William Street is the straight line that's kind of running from top to bottom at the left underneath where it says Dayton Farms. The area that's in green is the entire parcel that we're proposing for this use. It's slightly more than 6 acres. And the area in red is the area where we would be doing the cultivation, and we're looking to do a total of 100,000 square feet. This property will be accessed by an easement over the property, also owned by the same owners, that's between William Street and the parcel we're talking about. And 1423, the address that we're using is the house that's on the top of the 3 parcels that you see that have frontage on the street.
Do any board members have any questions?
Actually, I do. How will that parcel be secured?
There will be a lot of things to be done. Is Tom and or Matt available to go into a little bit of detail on that?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to copy.
Matt?
Matthew Gurton. Tom, would you like, go ahead, Tom.
Matt Gurton is a representative from Nova Farms that we've had some discussions with and intend on securing a contract with. So Matt understands what the operation would function like. So Matt?
Yep, so I'm not sure if anyone is familiar, but in Sheffield, Massachusetts, there's outdoor cultivation farms similar to what we're proposing here. It would mimic it in nature. We could provide some more information and specifics on the actual layout, but essentially it would be a large fence that encompasses the entire green area. And in terms of additional security, there is live stream cameras, much like any other cultivation facility in Massachusetts, that would live stream to the proper authorities.
Dr. Z, do you have any questions?
I have sort of a procedural question. I'm not sure if Town Administrator Mullen or one of the Strawberry Fields representatives could answer. I know in Attorney Round's original letter that we received on March 23rd, 2021, requested a letter of non-opposition or letter of support. I thought, according to a discussion that I had with Town Administrator Mullen, that the Cannabis Control Commission with the Commonwealth had done away with the letters of support or non-opposition, and now the only thing that is needed is the host community agreement. And I was wondering if Town Administrator Mullen or someone from Dighton Strawberry Fields could elaborate on that or clarify.
So yes, I'd be happy to start, Dr. Z. And I did have a conversation with the Director of Government Affairs for the Cannabis Control Commission last week. As you, the board, and the members of the general public know, we have 2 entities right now that, as of this evening, are seeking a host community agreement for cultivation. And I wanted to make sure the processes with the Board of Selectmen and going forward with the applicable special permitting boards like the planning board, and I believe in the case of the Dighton Farms proposal, there will also be the zoning board involved as well. I believe the zoning board of appeals. So I wanted to make sure the processes that we endeavor, as a town, and working with Dighton Farms, reflect the most actually up-to-date information from the commission. So, and what the Director of Government Affairs from the commission actually indicated is that they have done away with the letter of non-opposition and or support. Those basically started with the onset of the permitting and the licensing for the medical marijuana, and they have updated their regulations and protocols now with the onset and the expansion of the adult use marijuana. So to your point, Mr. Chair, this development is relatively new from the commission, and what I would respectfully suggest, Dighton Farms has to at this point, have a community outreach meeting that is required by state regulation as well. So at the same time that Dighton Farm, if you will, they proceed with that plan, one of the things I'm thinking of at this point is reconvening the Cannabis Policy Advisory Board to bring together all these stakeholders and the members of the Cannabis Policy Advisory Board for the town to see if we can come to consensus with this updated information, how we can really move forward in a kind of a more modern framework that reflects the fact that we're not working with letters of non-opposition or support anymore. So, but I think, on the other hand, we have businesses, we have entities who are interested in locating in Dayton. And I mean, I want to be mindful of the process that they have to go through. With the board support, if the board is going to support or however the board feels about it, together with the planning board process and the zoning board process, like that we as a town reflect the fact that we understand that they have different financing requirements as well. And ultimately, I think any entity might like to see, kind of some form of non-opposition at the outset as a way to, just ascertain, the community feel and the Board of Selectmen feel and the town feel for the project. That's why I think the community outreach meeting is in regulation and as a requirement. But again, in light of the new state processes, I'd like to also reconvene the Cannabis Policy Advisory Board so everybody's on the same page.
If I can just add to that, I agree with everything that Mr. Mullen just said. There is a long process. Just in our particular case, as he mentioned, we're going to have to appear before both the Planning Board and the Zoning Board of Appeals. The Planning Board to get the special permit for this type of use, and also because we want to do an outdoor growing facility. And right now, your zoning bylaw does not allow outdoor cannabis cultivation. But that's what we'd like to do. So we're going to seek that variance. And we also are going to need a variance, as I understand it, has to be obtained from the zoning board because a zoning district boundary line cuts through this property. And up on William Street, we're zoned residential. Back here, we're zoned industrial. But we're going to have to cut across the residential property to access the industrial property. And that will require a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of time and a lot of effort, a lot of expense to get that far. And we certainly don't want to waste everybody's time and our time and money if the town has no interest at all in us pursuing this. So I agree with what he said. We would like to have at least some indication from the board that you're not opposed to this idea if we do it right. And then we'll do our best to do it right.
May I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So would it be possible, I'm trying to think like on the fly here. Would it be possible to tentatively express, I don't know the right word, interest in allowing this to go forward? However, I do think that any agreement or host community agreement should maybe have some language in it that states that signing this agreement or something to that effect is conditional upon the applicant successfully navigating and acquiring all the necessary variances and special permits or whatever through the appropriate authorities such as zoning and planning. I guess those would be my two thoughts on this. I am interested in it. I would love to see it go forward. I understand, Attorney Rounds, your desire to have an expression of interest before you invest any more effort, time, resources, money, etc. into this. So I would love to hear how my colleagues feel and also how we want to proceed on this tonight.
So I have a question. Is this area allowed? Are they allowed to grow cannabis, cultivate cannabis there? And for those from the 60s, marijuana or pot? Is this?
Do you mean under the zoning bylaw?
Yes. Has the town given approval that this can be? Because we've given cannabis overlay areas, the old Raytheon, for example, part of William Street, but does it go down this far? So what does that mean then? If you're if Mr. Mullen, if you're saying no, what the,
So as I understand, Mr. Chair, the zoning overlay on William Street for marijuana does not come down this far. So that part of it, I believe will need to go, as part of it for the planning board for the outdoor cultivation, that goes to the planning board. The fact that the rear part of the parcel is zoned industrial, and the front part of the parcel is zoned, I believe, residential agricultural, means that part of it will need to go to the zoning board of appeals anyways. So, and I don't want to misspeak, but I believe the fact that that the site itself is not in the zoning overlay, I believe that part of it will stay with the planning board as part of the special permit, but I could be wrong there, right? Again, I don't want to misspeak on that.
yeah, I guess that's not my understanding, that I don't think they can necessarily change the zoning. I do understand, having been on the zoning board for 17 years, that you need a waiver or permission
Yes.
to go from residential to
Mhm.
industrial. So I understand that it has to go to ZBA, but I wasn't sure whether the planning board can approve something like this without the townspeople having designated this area as a cannabis cultivation area. So if it is allowed and they go through all the proper permitting, I would not oppose it.
Mhm.
I would need to know more information about security and fencing, and that would all come back to us anyway. But they've got a couple of hurdles beforehand, so I'm not necessarily if we should be voting to support this
Mhm.
right now without all the information before us. But
Mr. Chair-
Dr. Z, you did mention that it would be
Mhm.
conditional, so I will
I-
entertain.
Well, Mr. Chairman, what I'm speaking about is the actual agreement on paper that we would potentially enter into if all selectmen obviously are in agreement between the town and Dighton Strawberry Fields. But I think that's a question for later. I think we have a black box of information that we need clarity on. I think my question is sort of between Chairman Pacheco's points and also Town Administrator Mullins, where yes, let's take the Spring Street Mill, for example, where Pure Oasis will potentially enter into a host community agreement with the town. That's also zoned industrial, but their cultivation is indoors. And so no change is needed, right? So they have a few hurdles they need to jump, but that is not one of them. So I will also be interested to hear, and perhaps Town Administrator Mullen, you could reach out to counsel for the Zoning Board of Appeals and maybe get some clarity on this. And once we have that clarity, I'd be more than happy to hear that information and potentially take a vote on it. But I am supportive of the concept and the idea, Attorney Rounds. I just don't want to take an official vote and enter the town into anything before I have the clarity and the answers that I think we need before we can take a vote like that.
That's understandable, and we appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple questions.
Yes, Mr. Hull.
The first one, has Dighton Farms entered into any contracts with any other companies involved in the cannabis industry as a way to help this project get going?
There are no current contracts signed at this current time.
Okay, thank you. And as Dr. Segovia mentioned earlier, I have some concerns. So before I would agree to a tentative support of this project, I would want a great deal more information, and also not only public hearing, but review by ZBA and planning to even determine if this project can become a reality.
Does the board have any other questions or comments? Thank you, Attorney Rounds and representatives of the Strawberry Fields LLC. Appreciate you coming in, and we expect to hear from you soon. There is
Thank you,
a
Mr.
comment-
Chairman and members of the board. We appreciate your time and attention, and we'll stay in touch.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're a little early. The 6:15 appointment has been postponed because Tony Rosario doesn't have all the signatures that he needs to go forward with that. So that will be continued to our next meeting. So I'll entertain a motion to continue that item for an appointment to our next Board of Selectmen's meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
So a
Second,
Second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
aye,
Roll call, Mr. Hull,
aye,
Dr. Z,
Aye.
Ken Pacheco also says aye. We're 4 minutes early on the next appointment, so I'm going to entertain a motion to go to agenda item number 5, discretionary spending requests.
so move,
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor say aye. Roll call.
aye,
Roll call, Mr. Hull, Selectman Hull,
aye,
Selectman Dr. Z.
Aye.
Ken Pacheco also says aye. Town Administrator, do you have this information? And can you,
Yes, I do. For,
yes, and could you get
the-
rid of the marijuana? saga?
sorry, no, thank you. I appreciate
Yes.
that. I was looking in the corner of my screen.
That's.
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
So, so what I'll do also, like as we're speaking as well, like I'll pull up the packet as we go so we can all follow along.
Yep.
But while I'm doing that, the discretionary spending request from the sewer department, the expense would come out of the sewer enterprise fund. The 4,587 dollars would fund actually a pump, like at the sewer pump station owned by the town at Bristol Aggie. And this, we've had issues, the sewer department has had issues with that pump station and with the pump. They have money like in their enterprise budget already. And they're proposing that we purchase another pump because they've had so much issues with that pump station and they want to be prepared. So in the event that there's any issue with that pump or the pump station, that they're prepared and they don't actually have to call in a pumping truck or anyone else.
Does the board have any questions?
no, Mr. Pacheco,
I'll entertain a motion then.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the discretionary spending request from the sewer department to utilize $4,587 from the sewer enterprise fund for a flight model MP 1.5-inch submersible grinder pump as described on the quote from Xylem Water Solutions USA Incorporated.
Is there a
second,
Second. Any further discussion? If not, roll call, Selectman Hull,
aye,
Selectman Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Ken Pacheco also says aye. We're going to go back to I'll entertain a motion, I guess, to go back to item 4, the 6:30 appointment with the Board of Health agent.
so move,
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Selectman
Aye.
Hull, Dr. Z.
aye,
Aye.
Aye, and Ken Pacheco says aye. Mr. Pillings, I believe you're here.
I am.
Very good. You want to give us a report on the COVID-19 update?
Sure. First off, I want to say welcome, Selectman Hull. I came over
thank
to
you,
to spend some time with you today and formally talk with you. When you came in the other day, we were kind of a little hectic around here, and I just wanted to spend some time with you. And I that you left before. You had to go eat dinner or something important. So, but I'd like to meet with you one of these days. So reach out. So anyhow, COVID.
I appreciate that greatly, and I will.
Thank you. So COVID, we're still in the red for Dayton. We have a lot of cases. The cases are going up. We are experiencing more. Roz and I now, since December 1st, have now talked to 1,000 people, and it just keeps going. We're not seeing any specific event that's causing the big things. Right now we're following something like 40 different families. So it's just kind of everywhere. We are in the red, but it doesn't change where we're at. The state's still in phase 4, still trying to get things open. Things are happening. We're getting a lot of calls from the schools about sports, about events, book sales, you name it, whatever it may be. Obviously, Tava is on here right after me because they want to have their event, the cruise night event. There's a lot of stuff that's trying to happen, and I understand the reason for it. Everybody's tired of being in. We have been reaching out to all residents over 80 years old to see if they need any assistance getting the vaccine. And honestly, most of them have been able to get the vaccine on their own, so they haven't needed help, and that's been great. But you see 19% of the town has been fully vaccinated. Still a low number, but every week it goes up by about 2%, so we're getting there. I do want to put out 3 huge thank yous. Number 1 to Tom Ferry for moving the message board around town. That was a great net that caught a lot of people. Most of those homebound registrations that we came in from people seeing that sign. Don Hershey called all the veterans in town, and 42 of them, and actually spoke with them to find out if they needed help. Mark Pacheco, great kid. The election, he reached out to us for the election protocols, and he gave us all the information for contact numbers for all these people over 80 years old. He's been incredibly responsive, incredibly helpful, and I appreciate what he's doing for us also. But I think that's all I've got. Now, I know, I believe Jonathan Gale has been pre-registering some people too. I don't have any of his counts. I don't know how many he's been doing, but these are our counts. So if you got any questions?
Does the board have any questions?
Yes, actually, Ms. Pacheco, I do. Mr. Pilling, do you have any age breakdowns as to how this disease is affecting the subgroups in Dayton?
I probably could run that report. Yeah, I haven't done it yet, but there is a way to run it, and I can sort it by age. I've never done that before. I know lately we seem to be having a lot of people in their 40s kind of thing. And
yes, I've heard that.
But in like 20s and kids, we haven't had a lot of the older people, but most of them are the ones that are vaccinated. That 20% is generally the older population. So, but I can have that report for you for next month, for Monday, because every Monday we produce what you're seeing in front of you, and I can add that to it to give you an idea of where that's been at.
Please, because I think we might be able to develop some strategies with those numbers. You understand what I'm saying? I do.
I do. So again, the older people, they were hit with the vaccine. Come Monday, April 19th, the state will be opening up to the entire population for them to get the vaccine, which is going to be a large portion of the population. So hopefully that'll take us in the right direction also. But yeah, we'll run those numbers. We may need help from our nurse to run those, but we'll figure it out.
Thank you.
Mr. Pilling?
Yes.
Thanks so much. I wanted to start off by saying that. I also wanted to ask, is there a report that would also tell you the approximate ages of the folks who have been vaccinated? And maybe we could put that data together with the data Selectman Hull has requested, because I know you had said that it was younger people mostly nowadays, because a lot of the elderly had been vaccinated. So I just love to see that data as well. But I'm not sure if that is like handy dandy with the reports that you're able to. Perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, the state puts it out every Thursday. It's for every town in the Commonwealth, and I do that. But I have it to myself. I'll just see on my screen with everybody. I can hold it up. I don't have it handy on the computer, but
no worries.
To give you an idea, let's see. There's, for example, 75 plus. There's 461 of them in town, and 372 of them have already gotten one dose. So just looking at trying to figure out, they don't sort it by percentage of each age group, but again, I can add that information for you for next week also.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Are there any other questions? I do know that I spoke to our ADA coordinator yesterday, and I believe he's assisted 18 people in getting vaccination appointments. And I think yesterday he was working on the second appointments for those people in those group with people with disabilities. So Mr. Pillins, I would like to thank you for giving us an update on that report. As you know, it's very important that if you're eligible to get a vaccine, that you have the vaccine. They can have all the vaccines out there, but if you don't get vaccinated, it doesn't help. And that's the only way we're going to beat this. And I'm one of those elderly that you were speaking about that is fully vaccinated. So I'm not 75, but I'm in the elderly group. But and I believe Mr. Selectman Hull is fully vaccinated.
Yes, he is.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
so we're getting there.
I didn't use the word elderly. I just said older.
Okay. Thank you very much. Todd. Are there any other questions? If not,
I just wanted, it's
Yep.
not really a question. It's more, once we have the data and we have our discussion based on those numbers, maybe we should, if the data, let's say, says, it's younger people who are really having a lot of the infections right now, maybe we could, for example, share the link to the pre-registration through mass.gov. I like to consider myself a younger person. I didn't know that you were supposed to pre-register, and I was probably a little bit late to the game, but I have been able to get my first dose. And so I think it's just a matter of getting the information out, especially to younger people who younger people, they tend to think they're immune to things and are invincible. I should say invincible. So I would love to see those numbers, and I look forward to continuing this discussion and tailoring our efforts based on those statistics. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Todd.
You're
So,
welcome.
yeah. So the next item or appointment would be at 6:45, and we're a little early. So I'm going to ask for a motion to go to item number 7, schedule announcements. While we're waiting.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second,
All those in favor say aye. Selectman Hull,
aye.
Selectman Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico also says aye. Schedule announcements. The Town of Dayton public buildings are currently open to the public by appointment only and will be fully open to the public on Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. And if you come into the building, you need to wear a mask. The Town of Dayton Food Bank distribution will be held next on April 17th, 2021, located at Town Hall, 979 Somerset Avenue, lower level, as a drive-through, and it begins at 8 a.m. Earth Day is April 22nd, 2021. If any resident would like to clean up a street or town property near their home, they can call or text the Highway Superintendent, Tom Ferry, at 774-218-5339, and bags will be provided for the cleanup. Any resident who would like to schedule a pickup of items after an area described has been cleaned may do so by also calling the same number. There will be no cost for the bags or the pickup items. Could we get, okay, that's what's up there. Continue with schedule announcements. Spring pot fundraiser for the Dayton Historical Society. I want to mention to the public that I am a member of the society, and I'm also an officer of the Dayton Historical Society. Take and make home kits provided by Rougeau's Farms, 508-669-6988. Cost is $40. Pre-registration and prepayment is required. Pickup is on May 8, 2021, and these will make great Mother's Day gifts. The rabies vaccination day will be held on Saturday, May 15th from 3 to 4 p.m. at the Dayton Animal Shelter located at 821 Tremont Street. The Dayton Public Library has tax forms. Please call ahead for any forms you need. And the following boards and committees have vacancies. We have a few vacancies. We have a lot of committees and a few vacancies. Bylaw Review Committee needs 1 member. The Cemetery Commission needs 1 member. The Conservation Commission needs an ad hoc member. Dayton Trail Committee needs a member. Finance Committee needs 2 members. And I do believe, either Karen or Mr. Muller can answer this. I do believe we've had a request over the weekend for somebody who wanted to join the Finance Committee. Has that been forwarded to the chairman of the Finance Committee? Do we know?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I did forward it directly
Right.
to Chairman Swartz, and he did acknowledge receipt of that application, sir.
Good, good. The Human Rights Committee is seeking 2 members. The Land Use Committee needs 1 member. We need a superintendent of pest control. The TIF Review Board needs 2 members. Cable Television Committee needs 2 members. Community Preservation Committee needs 2 at-large members. Development and Industrial Committee needs 3 members. The DR School District Facilities Committee needs a member. Historical Commission needs 2 members. The Industrial and Development Financing Authority needs a member. Municipal Building Study Committee needs a member. And the Taxation Aid Committee needs a member, as well as the Zoning Board of Appeals needs 3 members. If someone could answer me, what is the difference between the Development and Industrial Committee and the Industrial and Development Financing Authority? Do we know? I don't know.
I think that's a really good question. I don't have the answer, and I apologize. I know there is the Development and Industrial Commission,
Yeah.
which was created and is covered under certain, I don't have it off the top of my head, but it's covered under a Massachusetts general law. It is primarily a marketing committee, and that is their job. I actually think there is another commission, which is this financing authority. I do not unfortunately know what their role is, and I have never appointed someone to that authority since I've been a selectman. So I would also love some clarity if anyone has any.
Yeah. Is there any comments about, yes, Town Administrator?
So yes, and if you like, Mr. Chair, I can look more into that specific question. So, and if you want to, and I can provide an update at the board's meeting on the 28th.
And I believe one of our colleagues on the board may be interested in being a liaison person for the Development and Industrial Committee. Is that correct, Selectman Hull?
That is correct. Yes.
So we may want to consider doing that at the next Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Thank you.
Yep.
I also
Yes.
asking around in regards to the Finance Authority from
Mhm.
previous selectmen, several of them, and they hadn't heard of it either. So I think we're going to have a difficult time finding out the origin of that committee.
Well, that is interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm willing to try, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
So we're still a couple of minutes early. How close do we have to be at 6:43? Are we able to go into listen to Mr. Ferry? 6:45 appointment, or do I have to wait 2 minutes?
It's an appointment, Mr. Chairman. It's not a hearing. So if Mr. Ferry is so obliged and would like to start 2 minutes early, and I'm sure not speaking for him, but I know I would if I were a guest. So maybe you want to defer to him.
Yes, so could we get rid of the screen?
There you go.
Yes, and Mr. Ferry, are you available to speak now?
Yes, I'm not sure where are you on the agenda. Are you referring to the safety zone?
Yes, I am. It's update on the safety zone on Pleasant Street.
Yes, so there's nothing new to report at this time, outside of, we're targeting the fall meeting, creating a bylaw. And right now, we're trying to get the current budget season behind us and all the other busyness in the spring. So that's where we are with that. Which brings up the question, I think Brett wanted this on the agenda every meeting. Is that what we're going to do all summer, or you want
I
to
had a
wait?
question for the town administrator, if it was okay, Mr. Chairman, about that.
Just to answer Mr. Ferry's question, Dr. Z is no longer the chairperson, so I'm.
That
So
is a good-
I won't necessarily put this on the agenda for every meeting. We'll look at the agenda when town administrator and I sit down and see if it's necessary, but I don't think it'll be at every meeting. So
Okay.
that's a very good question. But Dr. Z, back to you.
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Ferry. I did request that, but that was when we were like actually talking to Mass DOT, and that was
Right.
before we thought that we needed a bylaw. So that is a good point. My question for the town administrator is, there was also a question that I had wanted, and it's been a busy month. So since you started, it feels like you've been here forever, but you have just started. I wanted us to raise the question of reaching out to other communities that have established safety zones. And we know that they don't have bylaws on the books, according to our last conversation. So maybe just talking to someone in either their town administrator, manager, or someone in law enforcement, like their police chief, and asking about success rates in court with different tickets that have been handed out, and really getting to the question of whether or not a bylaw is even necessary. So I know we already have speed signs on Pleasant Street already, so I know there was a question about that. So if a bylaw is needed, I know that's what we're working towards, but I am curious to know how other communities that don't have them are dealing with tickets in court and things like that.
Yes, and I will definitely follow up on that, Chairman. Dr. Z, sorry, I have to get used to this
I know.
already.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Ferry, do you have anything else you want to say or talk about? No?
Not at this time. Nope.
Okay. No other questions for our superintendent? Nope. Going to go to the next item, which is item number 6, public input. And I understand that a longtime former selectman wishes to speak. So Mrs. Goulart.
An elder statesman, Mr. Chairman.
That includes me.
Just to comment on what was just said, I volunteered at one of those last meetings I was at to reach out to MMA, and I do have I have reached out. I don't have anything in writing yet, but I can tell you that Canton has installed something that's similar to a, I'll call it a speed platform.
Mhm.
I've told you before, Mansfield has actual speed bumps on the residential streets that are on the outbound side of the train track. Westwood has also done something, and these, from what I'm told, are not speed zones, but I'm trying to get more info on Canton, because Canton does have areas of the community that are zoned, that are posted 20 miles per hour, but where they've got these speed islands, it's 25 miles per hour. It's like you got to speed up to get over them. I don't understand that. So I do have that out, and certainly I will forward any information I get to the board relative to that. What I wanted to speak about under public input today is I did attend the MMA meeting, and the first thing I will tell you, Mr. Chairman and Dr. Z, because you have been at meetings, when John Robertson, the legislative representative, has presented. Well, the announcement today is John is going to retire as of July 31st. I don't know who's going to replace him, but he's been with MMA ever since I've been going, so it's a long time. And he's done a great job. And the other thing is, if you're not aware of it, the MMA has moved from Winthrop Square to 3 Center Plaza. Center Plaza is a curved building that faces Boston City Hall, that big government section, the JFK building. So they have moved, but they haven't actually unpacked because they're still doing Zoom meetings. So the MMA meeting today, we had 3 speakers, and the gist of what was discussed today relates to the energy bill that got passed, and that's the one that has the 0 stretch energy code. And they've been given 18 months to come up with the regulations that go along with that, but nobody thinks they're going to get all this done in 18 months. So all we can say is the climate bill passed, and the regulations for the new stretch energy code are in the works. The topic that had the most discussion was we had the speakers, Lisa Cunningham and Stephen Mushigan from Building Electrification Accelerator Initiative. And what they're saying is that everything should be electrified by 2050. And so they want to start with all new construction, whether it's new homes or high rises. Then they want to further expand and do over buildings to make them all electric. And you know, all of that sounds wonderful and great, but I had 3 questions. Number one, what do we do for backup if the power goes out? Because one of their main targets is get rid of all natural gas, except you got a pizza oven and you need a gas-fired oven to cook your pizzas, like in businesses. And there's a couple of other businesses that cannot operate without natural gas. They haven't come up with a reasonable method using electricity to evidently cook pizza. But my concern is we don't have batteries that have capacity to store the kind of energy we're talking about. And I talked about what happened in Houston and other parts of Texas when they lost power, and it went on and on. So if you don't have any backup, a way of storing energy when the power goes out, that's a problem. Number two, if you in effect shut down most of the natural gas industry, and I mean pipelines and everything else, what are you going to do about the unemployment you're going to create? Literally thousands and thousands of people work in that industry, right from the drilling to find it to me turning on the kitchen range. It just didn't seem, well, they hadn't thought of that yet. So I said, well, these are things you need to think about. And I says, not because I'm now an assessor, but I brought this up before when I was a selectman. What do we do about the companies who generate electricity using solar, who don't negotiate pilot agreements, instead race to the appellate tax board to try to get themselves declared tax exempt? You know, it's fine to say we're going to move towards electrification, but we've got to think about all these other things, whether it's unemployment, whether it's a potential loss of taxes for municipalities, and the cost it would incur if in fact people try to convert their homes. I mean, this is, you know, it all sounded good, but, and as I said to her, I have gas and electric in my home. If the electricity goes out, I can still cook. And she told me I can't. I said, yes, I can, because the electric spark doesn't work. You just strike a match and turn the gas on. So yes, I can. She wasn't aware of, I don't want to say how modern natural gas is, but anyhow, this was part of the big discussion. So what started out with, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. And do away with natural gas and all that. I'm not sure I support all of that. But there was one other individual that in this mix of clean energy is still nuclear power. And there's a lot of opposition to nuclear power. And she took a swipe at Seabrook. Unfortunately, or fortunately, a member of the committee I sit on is retired from Seabrook after 38 years. And he obviously is a proponent of nuclear energy. And so again, that was the big thing that they brought up. And Representative Michelle Sicolo from Lexington is working on more initiatives for zero waste. And of course, they talked about the mattresses and all that again. So that was the gist of today's MMA meeting. Something that I saw today that I'm making a request of the board to consider, and since we were talking about traffic and speed zones, I feel strongly it's time for us to ask DOT to put in school zones on Center Street West and 138. I was at the intersection going south this afternoon. I could see ahead of me that the light was yellow. So I thought, well, there's no sense speeding up because I'm not going to make it through. So I was the first car in line headed south. The traffic coming north, one man wanted to make a right-hand turn to go towards the river. Well, the one behind him didn't want to stop. There was the screeching of brakes, the beeping of horns. The car behind that man pulled out, went right through the red light. It was like, we all could see the lights in either direction. But we've tried to do something on that, at that intersection. The speed limit, I was looking ahead, the speed limit is 40 miles per hour. That's ridiculous because we have now more foot traffic. Yes, and we've got 2 schools and we've got the elementary school, which is the age limit we need to get school zones. And that's the flashing yellow lights like Rehoboth has on 44. So I just want the board to consider this as a future agenda item. And this may be easier to do than us trying to get our speed zones. But I just, as I said, I just see all sorts of danger there now. And the speeding through that intersection, if you're on 138 and you're stopped and they're going east on Center Street towards the river and they got the green light, they are flying. And we all know that that goes down to 30 and then at the bridge it's 20. So I think we've got to do something to protect the public in this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any public input from anybody else?
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman, based on what former Selectman Goulart raised, the second issue?
Yes.
Is that, and this I guess is for either you, Mr. Chairman, or for Town Administrator Mullet, is the, I think school zone is the correct term. I think it is called a school zone. Is that something that the Board of Selectmen votes on? I think that's something that we would need to petition or send a letter to Mass DOT from the Board of Selectmen regarding. So I'm happy, I'm not the chair, but Selectman Goulart, I know we always had the understanding that when a selectman requests something to be on the agenda, we always honor it regardless of what it is. So I'm happy to make that request on your behalf and have that be on a future agenda item, okay?
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Chairman, if I could add a comment to this.
Yes.
Years ago, when we had, what was the junior high, the old high school, and we had our 9 to 12 high school and the K to 8 system, the school committee, which was the town school committee, working with the Board of Selectmen, did contact Mass DOT. And some of you may remember there used to be a yellow blinking light that on just north of our north driveway, and the other one was further down 138. And these were just yellow blinking lights that said school zone. And it was a joint effort. So if in fact the town Board of Selectmen decides to move ahead, it'll be good if we get the DR school committee to jump on board with us to add to the request, because that's what we did years ago with the local school committee.
So I would ask the town administrator to look into this and put it on the agenda in the future so we can see what we can do for this item. But I do agree with Selectman Nancy Goulart that this is an important issue.
Thank you.
It's a safety issue.
Thank you.
Is there any other public input? Ms. Brady, did we get any emails, any requests?
I have no emails,
Okay,
no requests.
we'll have public input again towards the end of this meeting. Town administrators report, item number 8. Do you have a report?
Yes, I do, Mr. Chairman. I'll be quick. First of all, I just wanted to also say welcome. I just also want to say welcome to Mr. Hull. We had a very great meeting this afternoon.
Much appreciated.
And I truly look forward to working for you and with you, Mr. Hull. So congratulations.
My sentiments exact.
Thank you. So just a few things. First of all, I'm very excited to report that for the past 4 months now, I've been taking my Mass Municipal Procurement certification. And I'm very happy to say that as of Saturday morning, I have completed my last exam to be MCPPO certified. So more to come on that, but I do have a laundry list already of things that we need to get out to bid. And so already working on that. One of those is the work on the library that was approved at town meeting. We had a very good meeting with the library director, Mr. Raris, Mr. Aguilar, and the fire chief at the library last Thursday. So that work is going to need a little bit of engineering to actually start us off, but we are getting started on that. We we have trash bags for the Board of Health. We have also we have so a potential cemetery contract as well. So I have my work cut out for me there already, but thankfully I do have experience in this as well. So looking forward to move forward with those issues. The beginning of this week, the town accountant and I had a long conversation with Chairman Swartz of the FinCom, and the FinCom, actually, I want to thank Ms. Brady. She posted and finalized the FinCom so agendas this afternoon, but the FinCom is going to start meeting on the FY22 budget next Tuesday evening. That is the 20th. The FinCom will start their meeting so at 6:30, and then they'll have a 6:30 meeting on the 20th, a 6:30 meeting on the 22nd. So every Tuesday and Thursday till the finalization of the town meeting warrant in mid-May. So the agendas will be posted online. They're already posted here at Town Hall. And so we'll be continuing the budget process with the FinCom at this point. Also, I just want to remind everyone that warrant articles are due by the close of business on Thursday, April 22nd. We already have a number of warrants that have been submitted to the Board of Selectmen's office. I'm actually, on behalf of our office and our efforts, I'm working on a few, like myself. One is a warrant for a warrant article for funding for the wage and classification study that's been discussed. One is with the onset of potential federal grant opportunities, especially with infrastructure. I have been in conversations with our technical consultants and our engineers on that. So, and I've talked to them about the potential of basically having funding set aside that if a grant or federal infrastructure funding becomes available and we need to have consulting funding dedicated to help us advance those issues, we want to be prepared to do that as well. So, so I anticipate at least proposing an article to deal with that. Those issues. So we're ready to capitalize and jump on any potential federal grant assistance that could come our way. And then the last issue is to adjust if there's any, like if there are any roadway or accessibility issues that we want to really continue trying to fund as a town. I want to make sure we're looking at those issues together with Mr. Ferry as well. So I just wanted to mention those things. So lastly, too, I've actually spoken with one or two members of the board about this now, but where we have a new board and and that we're moving forward after this weekend. So a goal setting obviously is going to be important. So goal setting, not only for the board, but for myself as part of our roles and responsibilities in supporting the board in our office. So this afternoon, I did reach out to fellow local town administrators. So I did ask about, so-called retreats that a lot of towns, a lot of boards have, where they post meetings. They may meet on a weekend or somewhere off-site. But the meetings are posted, but it's really an opportunity to talk about actually goal setting, town goals, the expectations of members of the board, and so forth. And so if the board is amenable, I'd like to try to put something together sometime in the next month, 5 weeks or so. But I just wanted, before I move forward, I just wanted to I'll actually bring it up to the full board and see if there were any overarching thoughts about that. And that's all I am.
So does this, excuse me, Mr. Hull, does this retreat have to be in-state? Could it be Hawaii, for example?
I like your way of thinking, Mr. Chairman. I knew there was a reason I wanted to be here.
Selectman Hull.
I have, when I served on the Dayton Rehoboth Regional School District, for the first 3 years, we did retreats. And we went down to Seacon. It's an excellent, excellent thing to do. Not only it brought the board closer together, we got a lot of work done, but we brought cohesion. We came together as a team. There's a lot of team building. You can even add, my first retreat, we brought in someone that did team building. It was really, Mr. Mullen, that'd be an excellent idea. From my previous experience, I really would look forward to something like that.
Thank you. Dr. Z?
I love this idea. I think I feel exactly the way Selectman Hull does. My question would also be, I think it would be really good during the retreat to also, you know, I know Selectman Hull works. Selectman Pacheco, you have a lot of things that you do. I know you say you're retired, but you're very active, just as Selectman Goulart was previously. And I have a full-time job as well. So I'd love to also use that time to sort of talk about, like, you know, we have like a Board of Selectmen's 5-year plan that was devised before Selectman Hull obviously was here. So I'd love to hear if he has ideas. I just think this would be a really good time, an opportunity to do that. And also to team build as well. And really just discussing all this will bring us together as a team.
Absolutely.
As well. So I look forward to it. I think it'll be really worthwhile. I think right now we have a new member of the board who is really capable, really eager to learn. I've only served mostly my entire time with Selectman Pacheco and Selectman Goulart. So this is a great point where we can come together, hear new ideas from Selectman Hull, and possibly incorporate them into the plans that we've already been working on as a team.
Yeah, I also think it's a great idea. I wasn't thinking of Seekonk, as I mentioned earlier, but possibility of Seekonk is fine. No, I think it's a great idea. I think Mr. Hull, Selectman Hull has some experience in this. I had some when I worked before. I think it's a great idea. This is also for me, I've been with Dr. Z and Selectwoman Goulart. That's been the two people I've worked with for the last almost 3 years. We have a new member. I know he has, and I've discussed some of them, but he has some good ideas, some new ideas, and I'm always willing to listen. And I think it's a great idea. And I thank you, Mr. Mullen, for bringing this to our attention. We can figure out the logistics and when we want to do it, but I think it is a great idea.
With that, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any question for the town administrator? If not, I'm going to move on to the old business, but it looks like we don't have any old business. So the next item is item number 10, Selectmen's reports. I did want to just briefly mention, now that you talked about the 5-year plan, I was planning on asking that at our next meeting, that Dr. Z and myself give an update on our 5-year plan. But I've also mentioned to Selectman Hull that he has an opportunity now to come up with a couple of ideas, that his plan for the next 5 years. So whether or not we want to wait until we have this retreat, or do we, Mr. Hull, you think you'd be ready in 2 weeks to possibly come up with a couple of ideas that you would want to work on?
Absolutely.
Okay, so why don't we schedule that, Dr. Z, for our next meeting?
Yeah.
That you and I will give an update on our 5-year plan, and Selectman Hull can advise us and let us know what his 5-year, 2 items for his 5-year plan are. Okay, Selectman Hull?
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Selectman Pacheco?
Yep.
Regarding the 5-year plan, so some of the projects will be completed early. So for example, one of mine, even though I'm clearly not a building expert by any stretch of the imagination, was the town hall renovations. That is almost completed. I know the top level I'm talking about.
Yep.
So maybe this also, we could reassess the other priorities and maybe have an open discussion together at the next meeting about how we wish to proceed, and just start that discussion, and we can continue it at the retreat.
that sounds good. Do you have anything to report, Selectman, Dr. Z? No?
No, I just want to congratulate everyone who was successful in the annual town election. I also want to congratulate all the candidates who came a little bit short, but who put themselves out there, who love this community. We're lucky, quite frankly, to have so many people who want to serve Dayton, and it's encouraging. And so thank you to everyone. And of course, thank you to the clerk's office for doing a fabulous job.
I agree. Any other selectmen's reports? I know, Mr. Hull, you just started, so you may not have any reports for us.
No, I
No.
not at
Okay,
this
so-
time. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. We'll go to item number 11, new business. The first item is review, discuss, and act on the recommendation to appoint Lisa, is it Degassi? Degassi?
Yes, Degassi.
Degassi as assistant town accountant. So we did, okay,
So yeah, Mr. Chairman, did you want to add something? Sorry.
no, that's fine. I did not, this wasn't part of the packet, at least it wasn't in my packet, so I'm glad to see this.
So yes, I'm sorry. I realized this afternoon, Mr. Chair, that this wasn't actually part of the packet, so I wanted to make it actually public this evening.
Yep, that's fine. So I don't think well, maybe I will read the whole letter. This is from Lisa Degassi. And this was addressed to Ms. Kerwin. Please accept my application for the assistant town accountant position as town of Dayton in Dayton, Mass. I am a 2002 graduate of Bristol Plymouth Regional Technical High School, where I was involved in tech prep program and attended Massasoit Community College at night as a senior in high school. In 2006, I graduated from the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth with a bachelor's degree in accounting. I have been working for the town of Rainham for 2.5 years and hold the title of senior accounting clerk. I process 2 invoices and 2 payroll warrants weekly for the town of Rainham, comprised of separate town and police warrants and print reports. I review and verify calculations on accounts payable and payroll warrants. I have familiarity with setting up and editing vendor and W-9 information. I correspond with town departments regarding any bills or discrepancies, and I also audit invoices for COVID expenses to be logged and submitted for reimbursement. While working at the Degassi Heating and Air, I suspected that's a relation, I monitored and logged employee attendance, sick and vacation time. Over the years, I have obtained great organizational record keeping and communication skills. I have great attention to detail and have audited records for accuracy and competence. I have experience with creating and maintaining Excel spreadsheets. I currently use Abila MIP fund accounting software and positive payroll. With these skills I have acquired, I aspire to become the next assistant town accountant for the town of Dayton. Hopefully someday progress my career into becoming a town accountant. I believe I will be a great asset to the town of Dayton due to my experience and willingness to learn and excel at everything I do. I would appreciate having the opportunity to meet with you and to further discuss my qualifications for this position. You may reach me at blah, blah, blah. And I believe, Mr. Mullen, you have a letter of recommendation that you sent to the board.
Yes, I'll do, and I'll pull that up in one moment, Mr. Chair. But so yeah, it is a recommendation to the board that Mr. Degassi be hired. As I outlined in the memo, the town is very fortunate to have had actually 11 applicants apply for the position, and together during the last 2 weeks, the town accountant, the treasurer, a collector, and Miss Brady and I have conducted 2 interviews and 2 follow-up finalist interviews as well. And I want to mention that because we had 2 finalists who, including Mr. Degassi, who were extraordinary. And in the just speaking for myself, in the decisions that I've had to make in the last few years, this actually was one of the most difficult ones because it was actually that difficult because we had 2 exceptional finalists. So like we reviewed the qualifications of the finalists very, very, very closely. The town accountant in those final discussions and in most of the discussions around, like if not all the discussions around Mr. Gessie, he did recuse himself because he does have a professional association with her. But this is why we brought, together with Mrs. Brady, we had the treasurer collector involved in the process because the work and the relationship, that both staff members in the accounting office need to have with the treasurer's office is that critical. And we do think, that Mr. Gessie would really be able to come in here and really hit the ground running, and be able to pick up in many, many, many ways where Ms. McCarron left off.
Does the board have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, my only question, or maybe, I don't know, Selectman Hull's questions may raise more in me, but my first question, I guess, is since Mr. Gessie was the senior accounting clerk for the town of Rainham, is she not eligible for credit for service if she is appointed this evening? Since she wasn't an assistant town accountant in the previous position.
Credit for, so this position, Dr. Z, was posted in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement.
Mhm.
So it is a union position
Mhm.
that has a specified
Mhm.
hourly wage. I can look into whether or not, she would qualify for anything over and above that union hourly wage. With approval or contingent on that, I'd be happy to do that.
I only raised this, Town Administrator Mullen, because when we hired the current, I want to say this correctly, clerk of the assessing department, I believe they were eligible based on their prior experience for creditable service. And so I just want to make sure now we can make the appointment because, for example, I think we can make the appointment, I should say. When we gave Mrs. I shouldn't say names, only titles. When we gave the administrative assistant to the Board of Selectmen / town administrator their creditable service, that was after they were already hired. However, that's a non-union position. So I'm only raising this now because I just want to make sure. I believe the clerk of the assessing department or the Board of Assessors was hired with that creditable service caveat. I don't know, for lack of a better word. So I just want to make sure if we act tonight that we are doing so and setting the proper wage rate based on, yes, the union matrix, and we've all seen the matrix that's in that CBA, but also for any creditable service based on their prior professional experience that may bump them up or not. Chairman Pacheco, I believe you were here for that decision as well.
Yes, I just think that this person, whatever she's entitled to regarding the union wages and vacation or whatever, she should be entitled to. And
Yep.
That won't change my position on this. Selectman Hull?
Yes, two questions. Mr. Mullen, the other finalists, were they a resident of Dayton?
Yes, the other finalist is a resident of Dayton.
In regards to the matrix of the union, that should be pretty much standard operation. Am I correct? They would get what the union negotiated rate is. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we appoint Lisa DeGessi as our assistant town accountant.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Dr. Z,
Aye.
Selectman Hull,
aye.
Campuchico also says aye. Do we have a start date on when she's going to start?
When we discuss a potential start date with him, Mr. Pacheco, she said that she would have to give 2 full weeks notice. So as at this point, we're looking at a start date of May 3rd.
Okay. And have we hired somebody else in the meantime, part-time? Have we asked the last person to assist the town accountant in the meantime? I don't believe we have.
So we haven't yet. I believe this is something that's been looked at. It's something, frankly, I want to do. And something I would recommend. What our thinking was, we would get to this recommendation process this evening, and then I'll actually move forward. I'll examine what the town accountant's office budget is, and then develop a plan to onboard the new assistant with the help of the prior assistant town accountant if she is interested.
Okay, do we want to wait then to discuss that and vote on it to the next regular scheduled meeting? Or do we want to schedule next week for one of our meetings with the FinCom?
What I would recommend is that based on our conversations with the new assistant town accountant, we could add that as a quick agenda item next week.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. The next agenda item on the new business, a review, discuss, and act on appointment of.
Selectman, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, did we
we have a motion? We had a motion in a second, so
not vote?
do you want us to rescind it and we'll table it? I'm happy to do
Absolutely.
so.
No, sorry.
Okay.
Any further discussion on the motion?
No,
I thought we voted on this, but all those in favor say aye. Selectman Hull,
aye.
Selectman Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico also says aye. Thank you, Dr. Z, for
You're
picking
welcome.
up on that, because that would have been a little bit of a problem. So the next item is item number B under new business, review, discuss, and act on appoint Nancy Goulart to Greater Attleboro Taunton Home Consortium. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we appoint Nancy Goulart to the Greater Attleboro Taunton Home Consortium.
I second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Selectman Goffres,
Aye.
aye, and Campuchico, aye. Item
Thank
number
you.
You're welcome. Review, next item is C, review, discuss, and act on the appointment of Todd Claudia to the IT committee. I believe we were given a resume for him. Does anybody have any questions about this? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mr.
So
Chairman,
moved.
oops, sorry.
Sorry.
Selectman Hull,
I make a motion to appoint Todd Cludier to the IT committee.
is there a second?
I will second that.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Dr. Z,
Aye.
Selectman Hull,
Aye.
and Campuchico also is an aye. Item number D, review, discuss, and act and appoint a member of the Board of Selectmen to Capital Outlay Committee. I know that I have an interest in this, but I'm not sure if anybody else has an interest in this. So I will, yep.
mhm.
Dr.
So-
Z, yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My position is, it's not that I'm not interested. I'm on several other committees. None of my, I should say, none of the projects that I've been tasked with from the Board of Selectmen's 5-year plan are at the stage of even needing capital consideration. We're more discussing grants and things like that. And the town hall project will be completed probably within the next year, thanks to the building commissioner and the highway department. So I'm happy to support either of you. I know Chairman Pacheco, you are involved in the library workings. I suspect since former Selectman Goulart was involved in the fire department and also the highway department, different capital projects there, that perhaps Selectman Hull may be interested in that. And so if he is so obliged to want to be on the capital outlay committee, I'm happy to support him in that venture, whomever would prefers to be on it.
Sure.
Mhm.
Selectman Hull?
I would like to make a motion if that's appropriate at this time.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Kenneth Pacheco to the Capital Outlay Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico also says aye. Review, discuss, and act to appoint a member of the Board of Selectmen as SERPA Commission member. We do have something in our packet regarding what they're seeking. So if anybody has any questions about what that would entail, I believe.
So if I could, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So I know last year, and I think for the last few years, I want to say, but I know last year in particular, so Mr. Cavallo from the planning board, he has been the planning board designee, but also the Board of Selectmen designee as well. So I just want to mention that just so that was understood. So the board has the opportunity to to appoint Mr. Cavallo as the selectman representative as well. So, or you can choose one of your own members.
So we know he still has an interest in
Yes.
part of it? Yes. I will entertain a motion. Yep.
Before I make a motion, I just wanted to ask, were either of my colleagues interested?
I know I wasn't. I can't speak for Mr. Hull.
I wasn't, but I also note that Mr. Woods has a question in regards to that. He's on the planning board.
Can we unmute Mr. Woods, or Mr. Woods, would you unmute yourself?
Good evening, Robert Woods, 158 Chase Street. And I used to be the Serpent rep for the planning board and for the Board of Selectmen. And before me, it was, I think her name was Donna Kupla. And she served as the representative to both the planning board and the Board of Selectmen. And it just to give you a little idea, they're lengthy meetings, and I don't know if you guys have that kind of time. And I think Jeff is doing a fantastic job. So, if one of you want to do it, knock yourself out. But it's pretty time consuming. And, I don't want to say some of the meetings can be boring, but some of the meetings can be boring. And
Like
some
our
of them,
meetings.
are full of some really good information. So I know Jeff is willing to serve. We discussed that at our last meeting. So do whatever it is you feel necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I have seen many of the thorough, I will call them very thorough, very detailed emails that Mr. Cavallo has sent members of the Board of Selectmen, members of the Planning Board, etc., all key stakeholders. I think my personal opinion is he's a go-getter. He's doing a fabulous job. And I'm happy to make a motion to appoint Mr. Jeffrey Cavallo as Serpid Commission member as the Board of Selectmen's representative.
Is there a
I
second?
second it.
Yeah. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico also says aye. The next agenda item is review, discuss, and act and appoint a member of the Board of Selectmen to the Bristol County Advisory Board. I'm going to step down and recommend that Selectman Leonard Hull be the member of the Bristol County Advisory Board.
And I'm going to second.
Thank you.
Any discussion? I assume, Mr. Hull, you're willing to accept this position?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
All those in favor say aye. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico also says aye. Correspondence, we have several correspondence. We got a resignation from the Zoning Board of Appeals from Ryan Eckerson, and we do have that, a copy of his resignation. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept with thanks and sincere appreciation the resignation letter of Mr. Ryan Eckerson from the Dayton Zoning Board of Appeals.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Selectman
Aye.
Hull? Dr.
Aye.
Z? Yep, Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico also says aye. The next correspondence is a resignation from the Zoning Board of Appeals from Michelle Lima. And that letter is also up. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we accept with thanks and sincere appreciation the resignation letter of Michelle Lima from the Dayton Zoning Board of Appeals.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico also says aye. The next item on the agenda on the correspondence is from the Office of the Governor, and it was addressed to Fire Chief Christopher McGee. And would someone like to read that letter? If not,
Yes, I'd be happy to, Mr. Chairman.
okay, thank you. Thank you.
It's a letter dated April 1st, 2021, to Chief Christopher McGee. Dear Chief McGee, congratulations. I am pleased to inform you that the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security and the Department of Fire Services has awarded the Dayton Fire Department $12,497.82 in state fiscal year 2021 funding for the firefighter safety equipment grant program. Despite the extraordinary obstacles that the last year has brought, the fire service in Massachusetts has continued to protect the citizens in Massachusetts with remarkable consistency and expertise. We would like to thank you and all the members of your department for your dedication to keeping the public safe during this challenging period in our history. The contract, terms and conditions, and the other award documents for this program will be provided to you by DFS. Please contact Tim Moore at DFS with any questions about this award. Sincerely, Governor Charles D. Baker and Lieutenant Governor Karen E. Polito. And the chief is very pleased and thankful for this grant. And specifically, he wanted to share with the board and the general public that this grant, the $12,497.82, will fund 3 battery-operated positive pressure fans and hand tools for the fire department. So again, I just want to actually congratulate the fire chief for this and all his efforts. And make sure that his successes and the department's successes actually have the opportunity to be shared with the board and the public, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Do we need a motion to accept this grant, or it's just a correspondence? Okay, thank you. Well, congratulations to the fire chief and the Dayton Fire Department. It's great news.
Mhm.
We do have something that is not before you, but we got an email Monday, and this is from Melissa Babby. Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to read this email. My name is Melissa Babby, and I am the troop leader here in Dayton for the Daisy Brownie Troop. This year, I want to get the girls involved in Earth Day. I have secured 11 white fir trees that I wanted to ask permission to plant around Town Hall. I have spoken to Tom Ferry, and he told me that the Town Hall indeed needs more trees. I come to you asking permission with the help of Tom Ferry to have my girls plant trees at Town Hall for Earth Day. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you. Because it is not on the agenda, we can't address it, but I would ask that it be put on a meeting when we meet with FinCom next Tuesday. And if we can vote on it next Tuesday, hopefully the board's going to be willing to approve it, but Could we please put that on the agenda and we can discuss and vote on that? And Mr. Ferry, do you have anything you want to add to this, please?
Yes, if you don't mind, if you could share that contact information with me. When I spoke with her, I was interested in town properties, not necessarily town hall. I don't think we need 11 fir trees at town hall, maybe 2. And these are probably only 18 inches high. They're really small seedlings. I do have some areas throughout town properties we can consider, but I want to make sure we're on the same page.
Okay, Ms. Brady, could you forward that email, well, the information to Ms. Babby, Tom Ferry's information, and that they can speak before the meeting, we meet next Tuesday?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Are there any acknowledgements? Nope.
Just Mrs.
I
Brady.
have none.
Oh, the next item is minutes. I'm going to ask for a motion to release the executive session minutes for the following dates. March 29th. Is there 2 March 29th, I guess?
Yes, there are.
Okay, March 29th, June 21st, July 12th, August 3rd, September 12th, September 13th, September 14th, and September 21st of 2017.
I'm gonna make that motion.
Second
There is a second. So just so the public knows, Mr. Hull and myself were not members of the board when these executive sessions were held, but we can still vote on the minutes themselves. Any further discussion on this?
I just wanted to say September of 2017 was a fun month.
It looks like it. All those in favor, aye. Selectman Hull,
aye.
Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico is also an aye. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the Board of Selectmen's regular meeting minutes of February 10th, 2021.
So
I
move.
like,
Oh, sorry.
So who,
I'll second it.
so Dr. Z made the motion and Selectman Hull has seconded it. Understand,
you.
also understand that this minutes from this meeting and the next meeting we're going to discuss and vote on, Mr. Hull was not a member of the Board of Selectmen at that time. So motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Dr. Selectman Hull. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Dr. Z. You're muted.
Aye. Sorry.
And Campuchico also aye. I'll entertain a motion to approve the Board of Selectmen's regular meeting minutes of March 10th, 2021.
So moved.
Is there a
Second
second?
it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Selectman Hull.
Aye. Aye.
Dr. Z
Aye.
and Campuchico also aye. Next item is item number 15, approval of the warrants. I'll entertain a motion for warrants dated April 7th, 2021, 41C in the amount of $2,548.23. This is brought up at this meeting because it wasn't brought up at the last meeting. Is there a
So
motion?
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico also says aye. I'll entertain a motion on warrants dated April 14th, 2021, 42A-21 in the amount of $93,499.19 and 42B-21, $137,293.36.
So
So
moved.
moved.
So Selectman Hull has made the motion. Dr. Z.
I will second. Yep.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico also says aye. Is there any further public input?
Hey,
Anybody?
this is Laura with Vacant Cable. I just had a quick update for you guys.
Yes,
So our chairman, Dave, met with our vendor for the equipment over at Old Town Hall today. I know last meeting we had a lot of audio issues. So luckily today they were able to test everything and rewire the wiring for all those microphones. So that should be set to go for your guys' next meeting. And I just wanted to confirm that that was the 28th of April.
yes, it is.
Okay, so that should be set and we're going to test it a few more times too, but luckily they were able to get there and do that today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So our next meeting, we will do it at Old Town Hall. It'll be a hybrid meeting. We'll do Zoom as well as the select board being in Board of Selectmen being in person, as well as Town Administrator and Ms. Brady. And we can have, I believe, up to 13 people. We'll have 1 or 2 people from cable. So it's nice that we can get back to Old Town Hall. Is there any other public input? If not, we're going to go into executive session. This open session will not reconvene. Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss the strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation of an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. Negotiations with Dayton Police Department, police officers, Mass Cop 306, and B, update on police and fire union grievances. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, aye. Selectman Hull?
aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico also says aye, so we will not be returning and reconvening in open session.